Hi, guys, and welcome to yet another episode of the Sassy Talks. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Special because of his marketing skills, special because of his people skills, and also, more importantly, special because he's played a very significant part in the growth journey of Growth Spree. Today, we have Rohit Srivastava. He's has experience of over 8 years in marketing in SaaS. He's worked with companies like Zoominfo, Webenegage, Clever Tap, and was also the founding member of Kula. Today, he is, if you're in marketing in SaaS, you would also know him as the co-founder of the fast-growing S11S community on Slack. And he's also started with some stand-up comedy, which is interesting, which we'll take up for sure towards the end of this podcast. Welcome, Rohit. Welcome to the Sassy Talks. And I'm glad you're here, and thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thanks so much, Ishan. That's a very kind introduction. And every time I hear that introduction, I just feel grateful. And just to be a part of this entire incredible ecosystem that has become to be so big. So yeah, really happy to be with you and excited for this.
Awesome. So yeah, you started off, probably during the time when SaaS was picking up in India, right? But before that, we stalked you on LinkedIn, and we saw that you did a 6 months management trainee for an BFSI company. The first 6 months, that was college placements, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
college placement, and it was not 6 months. It was actually 13.
Oh,
I did it for the entire year. I used to sell insurance in Ahmedabad,
oh,
and I got confirmed. I got promoted. I got a
wow.
hefty bonus. And the day I got all those three, the next day I resigned because,
That was it.
yeah, my boss, my then manager asked what happened, like what went wrong. I did everything to gratify you and to retain you, and I'm like, exactly. I have figured that I'm pretty good at this, and if I stay another year, I'm going to be here for my entire life, and I just cannot do it. So
Amazing, amazing,
that
amazing.
was
So
the
what? So you were was content, was creative writing already a part of Rohit's life in the early days when during school times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting story there, but yeah, in short, I'll tell you, I started writing and got published in like local papers and all back in
Wow,
standard seventh, eighth.
nice.
Even then, I obviously wrote poetry from that age, and I my favorite things and topics used to be like common life observations and
Amazing.
national politics and stuff. So I used to write satire at in standard eighth. So
Oh,
that was the thing.
wow, wow. So this has come in naturally to you, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, writing has always been the most natural thing that I would do. And honestly, like in I was a bit cocky about it whenever people would used to appreciate other people's writing. And like, so what's the big deal in that? I can do it. And then they would challenge me, and I would actually do it, and they will be amazed.
Wow.
And then I thought maybe it's so easy for everybody else, but it was not. And then I finally accepted that as my gift and sort of wanted to choose a career that would optimize for that. So yeah, that's how it all
Great.
started.
And so that's where then after this 13 month stint, Webenegage happened, right? So again, going back to the point, like this was early days for SaaS in India as well, right? What was the scenario like? I'm sure SaaS was a new term for you as well back then.
Yeah. I was not even searching for a SaaS company because I didn't know what SaaS, like I knew what
Right.
SaaS is, but nobody knew what SaaS is because Google search for SaaS companies and all of that would not give you back any results.
Yeah.
Uh, but I stepped into the Webenegage office, and the conversation that I had with Avalesh sir and Ankit sir is still one of my like top conversations with founders. And I knew while and Avalesh also knows this. Out of all the offers, Webenegage was the lowest paying one.
Hmm.
Uh, because of the role and everything, like nothing against him also, but yeah, it was the lowest paying one. But I stepped into that office and I knew I had to work here. Like that energy, uh, that entire environment was so engrossing that I could not walk back from that. And yeah, that's how my life changed from insurance to SaaS. I had to initially, when I had to explain what I do and so on, I used to explain it taking an analogy of how TCS and Wipro and Infosys were in their early days, and then how Webenegage is different and what SaaS, because SaaS nobody would understand. So that's how like it was back in 2014 and so.
Yeah, yeah. I think people still, in general, people don't understand SaaS. Like we come from we are in the SaaS ecosystem. That's why. But if you talk to your friends, let it go,
Still early
let
days, I
again,
would say.
yeah. That's true. That's true. So, what was your role in Webenegage?
I was given a very fancy title called content strategist, but essentially, essentially, I was the second marketer there, the first inbound marketer,
Okay.
and uh, none of us know what to do. So we used to learn from the internet and sort of do small things. It first started with a blog, then we ventured into case studies, then we wrote ebooks, and then we knew that we needed more people because a lot of things would have to be done. And essentially, we looked at one was, since there was no precursor to it, or everything was first principle on, okay, this is what is needed. We don't know whether to call it product marketing, whether to call it content marketing, or whatever. This is needed to do our business better, and hence we do it. And then in the parallel, the world started to define it as product marketing and content marketing and stuff like that. And the world that, okay, this is called product marketing, this is how it is done, and this is the right way to do it, and this, or maybe this is the better way to do it rather than the right way, because if the results are right, then it's the right way to do it. I believe that. But obviously I learned from the big guys like Moz and HubSpot and all of these guys, the early guys in SaaS, that taught us the better way to do it as well. So yeah.
All right.
How it was.
Okay. So how did the journey move forward? Like from Webenegage, what next? Like, were you sure about being in SaaS, or was it again like like something that just happened?
Even after Webenegage, I did not know that I want to be in SaaS for sure.
Okay.
But I knew I want to be in companies like Webenegage. When I said like Webenegage is surrounded by cracking really difficult tech problems. Because I had come to realize that tech is going to be the future. It was already the future, but I did not realize it back then. But then during Webenegage, I realized that this is going to be the future, because web happened, and people like Dream11 and Hotstar started to gaining more and more traction. So you sort of see that trend happening around, right? Myntra came in, Food Panda was there. So you knew that this will only gonna blow up. So, and web was transforming into mobile. So mobile I had to take that call to get to a place where which was the next stage in my journey. So I took like a 5 months break after Webenegage to work on an idea with a friend. But that didn't work out. So I was looking for a extension to my role. So I was doing content before, and now I was looking at something that would teach me demand gen. It was not called demand gen back then. Nobody knew this term called demand gen. It was literally called digital marketing. That's it. So I took that digital marketing role at CleverTap. Almitra and Anand were kind enough to offer me that role. I took it up, and CleverTap scaled crazily in that 1 year. We started from, say, 75 odd leads a month and scaled it to 1,000 leads a month.
Wow.
In a year's time. And obviously the team grew. The entire company grew from 40 people. I joined around the 40 employee mark. And within 1 year, we were staring at, say, nearing 200 people.
Nice.
And what
all happened? What all happened during this time? Like how? Like this is the kind of insights you're looking for.
So a lot of things happened. So when we started, the new website had just gone live. There was no paid engine as such. We had an agency in the US doing it, and then there were a lot of gaps in communication. All of that was there. Optimization didn't exist as much, and things like how you see in any early stage startup. And then early stage startup back in like 2016, 2017, it was even more crazy, right? Because we also didn't know, to be honest. We were also learning on the way. But yeah, we had like a very strong team and very strong leadership to understand from the first principle that this is what. So that entire jargon that you hear about CAC to LTV ratio, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that we approached from a first principle perspective. That
Nice.
basically, if this is the contract value, this is the conversion rate, this is the top funnel conversion rate, then what is the budget that we can allocate to this channel? So all of those conversations happened. So we came with our own benchmarks of the US geography leads. Then we came with our own benchmarks for India, for Southeast Asia. We had like in those days, I was amazed the sophistication that we had as a CleverTap marketing team. We still don't see in a lot of SaaS startup that I talk with. Like we had a full-fledged funnel in terms of lead to MQL to SQL to opportunities to customers, right?
Nice.
That sophistication, and we had like very clear targets. Obviously, we had lofty targets. Like when we,
Yeah.
just to give you like a number, when we were at 75, so say 80, 80, 82, 85 leads a month when we started, we even then, and thanks to Almitra for this, even then we knew that we have to have a minimum of 500 leads per month. So we used to laugh when we wrote the number, target 500, achieved 85. But the good thing is, within 7-8 months, we were at that 500 number.
Nice.
That
Nice.
is the importance of goal setting. That is the importance of learning those insights, and that is the importance of implementing all of that back into that system. So, like how you say the cliche goes, right? Like move fast and break things. That
Yeah.
essentially was CleverTap. We did a lot of experimentation, learned a lot of things from there, and implemented it back. We learned that Twitter traffic is junk.
Yeah.
That
Back
and
then.
but a lot of people just say it because they have heard it from somewhere. I have burnt money to learn that. So it's my own truth. It's my earned truth.
Yeah.
But I also figured how to make Twitter ads work later in that same experience, right? So all of these things were really beautiful to learn while at CleverTap, and I'm really thankful about the scale that I saw, and just being a part, and that the feeling that you get when you know that you are a part of something that is going to be very massive, or is at
Yeah.
that path already. The kind of confidence that it gives you to a young person working in that organization is immeasurable.
Yeah. That I completely agree. So you mentioned about Twitter ads and finding a way around that.
Yeah.
Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So Twitter had this. I don't know. After Musk, I'm not sure what resides and
That's
what
fine.
not.
That's fine.
but but as close as maybe say a year and a half ago, till a year and a half ago, Twitter has this hidden option under advanced targeting where you can target the followers of a particular account,
That's right.
which is not apparent to people when you go into like the normal targeting and all of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
while custom audience and all of that usually helps, the best way to go about is, as for a new brand or a challenger brand, that 0 to 1 SaaS company, is to figure out the overlapping audience. One, if you want to level that up, basically go to SparkToro,
Mm.
figure out the accounts that talk about the same things that you want to do, and
Yeah.
SparkToro gives you brilliant insights about what are those Twitter accounts, and figure those niche out that complements the audience
Yeah.
at your level, right?
Mm.
Take those Twitter IDs and just put it in the followers that you want to target. And
Yeah.
Twitter ads have always been cheap. Like I remember it used to cost us around 8 cents page view. Uh,
Yeah. That's
Obviously,
shit.
that has
Yeah.
increased.
Yeah.
That has
But
increased.
still,
Now
I
that,
think it's
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Still, it's
still
gone
very,
10x,
very,
but it's still very cheap.
very, very cheap. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you need to be wary about the bots and everything. So you don't
Yeah.
go after say 100K followers or 500K
Yeah.
followers, but go
Yeah.
after those 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 for people. Really figure out those influencers, micro influencers, if I may say, and then
Yeah.
use that, because Twitter is the only account that gives that out for free.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you cannot really
Yeah.
figure out in other
Agreed.
platforms. So that was
Agreed.
a really good hack
Agreed.
that served me for at least 4 years.
No, awesome. That's really really good insight actually. All right. What according to you, which career journey has been the most interesting one for you so far? You've worked in with, and I'm talking about the full-time ones. We're going to come to the
Yeah.
part-time and freelance ones later. But the full-time ones, which taught you the most, and which was the most challenging, and probably gave you the most satisfaction.
Honestly, I never believe that you can really pick and choose from your experiences, because I believe everybody is the sum total of their experiences on every walk of life. You
That's
cannot
right.
just because if you it's like doing a time travel. Even if you move the slightest piece, everything else will be
Agreed.
a different thing in the future. So but
Yeah.
so in that light, I think the most things that I was able to do was this answer might actually be very unconventional, but was at Netcore.
Okay.
Because I was there with like at a employee strength that was unknown for me. Like I have always, apart from that first job, I have
Yeah.
always worked for 20 people company, 30 people
Yeah.
company, where you are constrained for budgets, where you don't really know the strength of the team, where you don't really have resources at a level that you want to utilize that. And there is always something or the other breaking,
Yeah.
because that's how the nature of 0 to 1 startups are. And obviously, a lot of thank you to them. But at Netcore, I had the luxury of utilizing a lot of resources at my disposal, a lot of
Nice.
manpower, a lot of independence and trust from the management as well. So I think, and my ideas were very well received, honestly. And on and at I think that 2 year journey at Netcore, I got to experiment a lot. Like I think nobody before me, I saw, at least in Indian SaaS, bringing a stand-up comedian on board for a product launch,
Yeah.
which was unheard of. Obviously, it was like a idea that came out of a brainstorm, but to have that conviction from the management to go through with it was very, very
Yeah.
difficult to find at other places. Not because people are not that open-minded, but there are always a demand gen priority or some or the other priority that is on top of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
doing that stand-up comedian product launch, or taking over LinkedIn for 24 hours straight. Like we garnered for a major product launch. Actually, it was a company acquisition that we did. We
Hmm.
garnered around 150,000 video views in 24 hours, and all organic,
Wow.
absolutely zero budget.
Wow.
And actually, like 23 good quality enterprise leads in 24
Wow.
hours.
Mm.
So that was like a
That's
massive uh, uh,
that's
campaign.
That's unimaginable to happen. So, one thing that from this that I want to talk about, right? You got a good response internally with respect to the experimentations that you wanted to do and different things that probably you want to try, or collectively as a team. And from the top level management, you got that conviction and support in, or at least that willingness to try things out, which I'm sure you agree, right? Does not exist in all organizations, right? And it is generally difficult, especially for a marketing function, to convince people internally with different unique kind of ideas, which obviously can fail, right? That is a given, right? That is something that as a marketer we also understand while pitching the idea that it could fail. So how have I'm sure you've seen this kind of situation come in many times in your career. Like, how do you think a growing marketer today, working in the SaaS ecosystem or any organization, as a matter of fact, should tackle this, right? Because marketing is considered to be subjective. There are always going to be X number of opinions that will stand with every idea.
Uh, so I'll try to explain you with an example here. So
Sure.
lastly at Kula, one of the experiments that we did, Achu and I, was about distributing a Kula Uber voucher, which was called
Okay.
Kula. And
Okay.
so what we did was we just dropped in a message to everyone, all the founders who were going for the Sastra and SAS Boomi caravan in the US. And
Yeah.
neither like nor Achu nor the three co-founders, none of us could make it to the US in time. So we were skipping both of those. Um, but we wanted to make sure that everybody remembers that Kula is also a company that is a part of the group. So
Yeah.
how do we do it? We said, hey, if you're booking a cab in San Francisco during these days, just use the discount coupon Kula and like take a $20 off on your ride.
Nice. Nice.
Now, how do I attribute this back? I don't know.
Hmm.
Is there any attribution at all? I don't know. Will the vouchers will be used? I don't know. Nobody has done this before. How do I know this?
Yeah.
But what do you need to have is a very strong conviction and a very honest discussion with your founder that, hey, so I'll tell you the discussion that happened, and I'll tell you what is that response that you expect, which gives you the confidence to run an experiment like this. So I basically, like Achu said that, Rohit, we need to do something with SaaStr. We are not going, but I don't want to lose out on it. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? So he basically suggested that, can we do something like booking a cab and giving them rides from the airport and to the event and so on. And somehow that discussion ended up becoming Uber vouchers, right? Also, given how Achu used to work at Uber, so I think that naturally came to our mind. But the point becoming is, we agreed that most probably we'll not be able to attribute this back. And we have to understand this, because if people even get an awareness about Kula, they will only check out Kula after they are back in India. Or when our sales folks reach out to them and they call them up or maybe text them about Kula, they reply, oh yeah, obviously I know about Kula. But we'll never be able to pin it back that what is that campaign that gave them that insight that they know about Kula. But in our minds, we always knew that this money will be well spent because we are getting prime time attention of 75 founders, right? And that is divided by the entire budget that we spent. I'm sorry, I'm not at the place to expose that budget to you, but
that's fine.
what I meant was, for the budget that we actually spent, it was peanuts, right?
Yes.
And where did we arrive at that budget? We understood that if we were to just visit SaaStr and buy a couple of tickets and flight tickets included and all of that, what is that X dollar amount that will come out to be? Now, if we have this X dollar amount, what innovative can we do that is okay if it is not measurable even? Because we are spending, because even if we were going to SaaStr, we would not be able to attribute a lot of things that we do there. So how do we find an alternative campaign? So, and honestly, so this is like a tactical level discussion. At a strategical level, what you need to align with your founder or any leadership that you're working with is, marketing is a mix of science and art. If it was just science, you could replace Rohit with XYZ and you would get the same result. And then you will replace XYZ by ABC and you'll get the same result. It's the art that really counts. And you cannot really measure art at the end of the day. So you have to have that judgment call with each marketing campaign, each marketing proposal, and so on and so forth.
Amazing. Yeah. Wow. That's so well described, the entire scenario that generally all marketers go through. I think you've been able to crack it. I think obviously it is important how the kind of people you're working with and how they resonate with your opinions and thoughts and how you take the entire conversation. But yeah, this is a great approach. But out of this entire bit, I love this campaign that you guys thought of, and comparing it. I think the logic here comes in very clearly from the expense that you would have done on SaaStr and SaaS Boomi, and that this amount would have been nothing. Amazing.
That point also has a underlying point. Is obviously you will have to have that founder trust or leadership trust in you, but also you cannot always go into a meeting and say, "Trust me, bro." You will have to have like some logical explanation to the calculations, like where it is coming from. So that's why.
Exactly. So Rohit, have you been able to figure out why you're good at what you do? Specifically talking with respect to marketing and SaaS.
Yes, I have tried to figure out. I don't know if that's the right answer or not. And this I attribute to actually David Cancel. He's the CEO of Drift. Obviously, everybody in SaaS knows him.
Yeah.
So I started listening to his podcast, Seeking Wisdom and so on. And he used to talk about these things a lot, where marketing is broken and stuff like that. So I, out of a whim, I just wrote him a cold message on Instagram. So I do this. I find people where they're famous, and then I find people where they're not famous, and I reach out to them where they're not famous, so that they actually get time to reply. Because I'm pretty sure he's getting 100 LinkedIn DMs every day.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's not getting, like, he's getting maybe 10 Instagram DMs a day. So I wrote I posed this exact question, that how do I become like top 1% of marketers if I want to be, right? How do I get there? And he actually gave me an article that he wrote somewhere and also explained to me the logic of that article, and that helped me a lot. So I always thought that I am bad at demand gen and hence I need to be good at it. because
Okay.
that always figured that, hey, I don't know the latest tool that came in. I don't know how to
Yeah.
Zapier this thing out. I don't know how to automate this particular part. I need to learn what is the latest trick. In that while, what I did was I overlooked the entire content creation capabilities that I had, like the entire storytelling capabilities.
Yeah.
So David Cancel suggested me to read that book, Managing Oneself. And he also told me to focus on one particular point, which was we spend 80% of the time focusing on the 20% of skills that we are not good at.
Yeah.
And to bringing that to a, say, B+ level. Right? So
Yeah.
the things that we are D- or C- at, we spend a lot of our brain power to get it at best, say, a B+, because we cannot really get them to A+ or A++, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And in that while, we don't really focus on the skills that we are already B+ or A at.
Hmm.
The right way to do it is basically accept that you are, say, D- at certain things, and hire the best guys out there to do that job.
Yeah.
And work on your skills which are already at B+ and A, and take them to A++++, which basically means you become 1% of those people who can actually do it.
Yeah.
And that sort of aligns really well with with Naval's thought on creating your own luck, like the fourth kind of luck. It's basically you become the magnet of the kind of work that you want to do, and that work will come to you.
Yeah.
So it happened to me around 3 years back, 3.5 years back, that I did this, that entire conversation. And then I worked on those suggestions, and that changed my life. And I figured that storytelling, product positioning, product marketing, company narrative, these are the things that I want to do. And those are the things that I chased in companies after that, which is essentially what happened at Incent. Amazing outcome for all of us. Really, really proud of what we could do. And again, the same work that I could do at Kula. Very, very proud of whatever we could achieve and whatever we did. And happy to put my name and behind everything that we did at Kula. Really, really proud of the entire thing.
Amazing.
So that is how I.
Oh, amazing! This is oh wow! These are things that I've not heard of. The way you've approached your entire journey, I think this is also one of the reasons why you stand out in everything that you do. Because even in the normal steps that you take, you are doing certain things differently in life, is what I can figure out. So talking about Kula, that was a completely, I feel, that was a completely different kind of a journey for you, right? Because you were not just hired as a head of marketing, you were the founding member of Kula as well, right? And as I think I remember this also, while we were talking, I think you were also one of the persons who went inside and talked to the board of directors and investors directly in that investment meetings, right? Can you talk a little about that? Like that is something that people like me don't get a lot of visibility into. Like what happens there, and how, as a heading the marketing entire go-to-market strategy function for Kula, like how are you tackling that? Is it actually a lot of pressure that generally we've heard of, and like how does the entire scenario look like? Whatever is possible for you to share.
So I'll share like part-wise answer to that question. Yes, Kula was a very different experience. In fact, one of the questions that I asked Achu was like, dude, there's no product. There's no, like, what do I sell? What do I market here? And I loved the answer. And that is why I joined him and like the team was. We have like a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Like verbatim, this is what he said. We have a multi-billion opportunity here, Rohit. And I don't want to be foolish about saying the wrong things about the problems and the solution and squander this opportunity off my hands. So I need someone who knows what to say and who can keep me in line and the brand on saying the right things about the right problems and the right solutions, and keep the market excited for whenever we are ready to launch.
Nice.
That
Great answer.
conviction on marketing from the very foundational level gave me the confidence to join the team even without a product. Like it was literally like a one-pager thesis and some customer interviews, prospect interviews, and the thesis on the market on how will we build this and so on. That is the time, like I was employee number 8. All other 7 people, 6 were engineers. One was Achu, who was ex-recruiter and a founder. And that was the team back then. And there was also receptive about what marketing had to say and how do we do things and all of that. And obviously it was a dream run, like one knock out of the park after the other. We ended up with 150,000 page views without 103,000 page views without spending a single penny on content distribution and marketing.
Wow. And in how much time?
This was a year, from January to
In a
December.
year. This is amazing. And
Yeah.
these are great results. I can't
For a,
publish all of
for
these numbers outside. People will start taking my neck and saying, "We give me these results." Rohit, wait. Hello.
Hi, Shan. Hello.
I lost your audio completely.
No
Um,
worries.
yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
I'm saying, yeah, that was like an incredible result. We built a wait list of people. Like, people were really excited about the problem that we were solving. We built a wait list of 1,200 plus people
Wow.
waiting to use the product and so on. So yeah, it was a like, and that's why I call it like it was a dream run.
Nice.
So that happened, and then with the board meeting question, I was supposed to, but then I did not present in the interest of time. But yes,
Okay.
I have been in those meetings. I have been in the office while those happened. I have contributed to the slide decks and all. So I'll give you that overview of how to think about this.
Hmm.
The better investors are people who are not really interested in the everyday working of how things are happening at your company and so on. They
Okay.
don't they believe you to run the business, and that's why they invest in you. They
Right.
will not get into that micromanagement piece, but they will want to understand where you are strategically looking at.
Right.
So and obviously I cannot talk about the matured companies because I have not been there, but at the early stage companies, I have been a part of multiple board discussions, not just at Kula, but other companies as well. Uh, the thing that they're looking at is, what are your earned truths? Like, what is that insight that you have gotten through this? So, for example, one of the mental models that I have come to love, given by a founder friend of mine, while I was trying to struggling through all of this to figure this out, was, um, if you like, one of the problems with startups is they don't dip their toe enough. Now, to explain that statement is, for example, if I need to learn if LinkedIn ads work for my company or not. So I will hire, say, a lukewarm consultant kind of a guy. I'll give him, say, $2,000, $3,000 budget, and I'll see if there are leads coming in or not. That is, on paper, that seems like a common sensical, like a logical way of thinking. But
Hmm.
that's actually very wrong. What you need to do is to hire the best person for the job and give them enough budget to come to a conclusion after a month or a 2 or 3 month period to say, hey, dude, you know what? I wasted $15,000 on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn ads don't work for you. What I'm arriving at is, this is the insight that investors need from you. That
Got it.
LinkedIn ads work for us or don't work for us.
Don't work.
Facebook ads work
Okay.
for us or don't work for us. And
Got
what
it.
is that data that you have to support? Like,
Got it.
where is this conviction coming from? And how do
Understood.
you use this conviction insight into stepping on the gas pedal next, like whatever that next stage is? So for example, if you're already in a growth stage company,
Hmm.
how would you scale this growth and take it to a matured, like a sustainable engine? If you're in very early stages, how do you take this insight and create a growth engine out of it? So those are the things that investors from a marketing point of view are looking at. And obviously you can layer it with the brand metrics on people, how many people are excited about this, the engagement that you're driving inside your community or inside, like, with your social platforms and so on. Obviously all of
Hmm.
that helps, but the moot question that they want to answer in their heads is this: what are those earned insights and how is that
Okay.
contributing to the business?
Okay. Understood. That's helpful. All right. Like last couple of things that I wanted to talk about. One is you've been moonlighting as a creative writer also while you were doing all these jobs, right? And so how did that experience help? Was it, again, I feel your answer would be like both have an important part to play, but was it learning here, putting it here, or learning here, putting it here?
Yeah. So moonlighting in its true sense will not be the right term to define this, but yeah, I was engaged with this on weekends for sure. So I would work one day a week with a writer friend of mine to do this. But how it all started has the answer about why it helped me become a better marketer or do my job better or whatever that question is, right? So so obviously all of us have read that Andy Raskin article about narrative building. So
Yeah.
I got a tad bit more excited about that article because the
Mm.
first time somebody actually split that out in the open on there is a structure to intuitive messaging. Because what happened before that, I always knew that I always go back to Avlesh's answer on why he hired me. Like I literally asked him 3 months into the job that why did he hire me? He said, you know how to tell a story, and that's why I hired you, right? And I always believed that somebody either knows how to tell a story or does not know how to tell a story.
Mm.
After Andy Raskin's article, I figured, no, there is a structure to it. And this can actually be taught. So I
Yeah.
started doing like Google searches and Reddit searches and all of that. And then I figured that the entire craft of storytelling is actually, like, while storytelling might be an art, screenplay writing is actually a craft where everything has a structure. Everything has like Lego-like modules where you can place one thing after the other, and that entirety becomes a very catching story, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I figured, okay, this can be learned. Like this can literally be learned. And I took those master classes on masterclass.com and then Udemy courses and live virtual cohorts and so on. And after a while, I had like this structure in my head. Serendipitously, while I was not chasing it, I got introduced to a Bollywood screenwriter and he took me in his writer's room and all of that started. But that entire knowledge base that I created actually helped me create the company narrative at Incent and then at Kula to figure that
Nice.
out on how do you structure that company story, and in fact one of the newsletter posts also I have written how to use one of those screenwriting tools to craft the founder story at your company. And
Nice.
so a lot of tools that I borrowed from there, how to make a personal brand relatable, as simple as that.
Mm.
One of those tips is introduce a flaw. And I'll tell you, I'll give you one of the most hidden secret about my LinkedIn journey. I have a flaw, which is a typo, right? Almost all things I write will either have a grammatical mistake or a typo. And that is a flaw
Okay.
that I have. I have not made it up. Like I have had typos at CleverTap, at Webenegage. I have been reprimanded about it and so on. But that is my flaw. Now, because of that flaw, you would always know that this is Rohit. It creates like individualistic brand.
I
It creates like a unique brand of it. So now, as one simple thing as that uh, is how Hollywood writers used to make characters relatable. Like
okay.
Superman is bad with girls, right? Or
Yeah.
Forrest Gump is a simpleton. Like obviously those are exaggeration and explained in terms of like the best characters out there, but
Yeah.
you get the example, right?
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are the things that I could borrow into the
Wow.
personal branding and company branding stuff, and that really helped me be better at the job. Now, how much of a
Wow.
dedication did my screenwriting job had? You can understand that it has been 2 years and I have not written one single screenplay. So I have not really dedicated time there, but yes, all the tools that I learned while doing all those courses and reading stuff about it really
Yeah.
helped me become a better marketer.
Wow, man, wow, wow. Again, I think this is very inspiring whosoever young people will watch this podcast. I think your journey has been very, very inspiring. Again, the kind of decisions that you've taken, I think that has been always been the turning points in the entire journey. So, how does the future look like, Rohit? So there is S11S, right? So please, you can start off talking about a little about that. How did that happen? Why did that happen? More importantly, I think you can start with that.
Yeah, for sure. S1S was credit where due was a strong conviction by Siddharth and Shafiq. I always thought that the world doesn't need another community because people usually join a community and then forget about it. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
we are also part of like 5 different communities and
yeah,
we almost never go there. So I was actually against the idea in the starting out. I was like, dude, I think we need to launch a course or maybe I don't know, like something that brings people together. We don't really need a Slack community.
hmm.
But what happened is every week, like every one day a week, the four of us, me, Chirayush, Shafiq, and Siddharth, we used to get on a WhatsApp call, which was unrecorded, obviously, and we would rant our hearts out, and we'll ask like the silliest of questions, like how Siddharth has had a great experience in managing the entire analyst relation piece, and I did not. So I would ask him, "Kr Siddharth, how do you talk to a Gartner analyst? Like, what do you say that as fundamental as that?" And then Siddharth will tell me, like, do this, do this, do this. This is a 4-step process. This is how you set up a call. This is what you talk, and so on. And then I like, why are we not democratizing this knowledge?
Yeah.
This will like, we'll grow into bigger roles, and this knowledge will die. This will not pass on to the next person in line. The sad thing about us was there was nobody before us to teach this. We all figured this out by doing it, and like by making a fool of ourselves and so on and so forth. But the younger folks don't really need to, because we have figured this out, and it's our moral duty to pass it on. So at the same, like, while this discussion was internally going on, at the same time, Clubhouse launched, and it became a rage. So we turned that, and we just said, hey, we are anyways going to do this call. Okay, let's do it on Clubhouse. Let's keep the room open. If people show up, nothing like it. And we did that. You wouldn't believe, the first call, 82 people showed up.
82. Oh my God. And this is all organic, like random people coming in, or you posted on LinkedIn?
Like, we announced on LinkedIn. We are like, hey, we are going to do a call. There's absolutely no agenda. If you want to show up, just show up. We'll talk SaaS. That's it.
Wow.
And honestly, we didn't know what we'll talk about. Like, people just came in and we asked, hey, what do you do? What are the challenges that you're facing? What do you want to talk about? And so on. That grew into, say, at peak, we were having around 140, 150 people show up every Saturday.
Nice.
At 5 p.m. just to listen us rant about SaaS, and then we'll have guests come in on the stage and then talk their experiences. And it was all unrecorded, so it was unfiltered. People taking names, people giving inside information and all of that, and it became a rage. But at the same time, we at the end of the session, we'll always ask for suggestions. And one recurring suggestion was, hey, we come here every Saturday, we feel love, we feel among friends, all of that. But then it's like a 1-hour affair. How do we make this sustainable? How do we have this energy forever? Like, why do we, like, it comes and it dissipates. It's like a peak and then it dissipates. What do? We knew the answer, but we didn't want to do it because, again, it was a community. But after a while, we just gave up. We're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see if it dies. We'll figure out something else. But let's just do it. Let's create a Slack community where people can just join and have these conversations one-on-one. And the internal target that Shafiq and Siddharth and I kept was, if we are able to get, say, so what's the usual, like, average attendee strength? So around 100, 120 people come in every call. So, okay, let's do one thing. If we have 200 people in the community, we'll take it as a success. And we're like, okay, that makes sense. We'll announce it on the Clubhouse call, and we'll announce it on LinkedIn. If people join, we'll see how it goes from there. 200 became 400, 400 became 800, 800, and now we are around 3,200 people in there. And if you ask me, is there a playbook? We have no friggin' idea, dude. Like, how it became what it became is beyond our comprehension. But all we can say is we are eternally grateful for people who choose to come to S1 and there's so many givers in the community. Like, they just come in and they just share their hard-earned knowledge over a decade and more about doing things. And we are just indebted to people like Anirudh, Abhas, Sai, like all Niranjan, so many people who keep the community alive beyond the founders. So that's the story.
So is it a focus now for you?
Yes, absolutely. So you will see a lot more meetups in a lot more cities. We want to take it. Obviously, one of the first things that we wanted to do was take it beyond Zoom and beyond Slack. So we started with the meetups. Now we want to take it beyond Bangalore. So we want to do more cities. We just did one in Chennai. We are also planning one in Bombay. Similarly, the next layer of cities in terms of Ahmedabad, Surat, Indore, and all of these places.
Nice.
So we are going to take it there. We are planning to travel as well. So Siddharth also has more time on his hands since now he's a free agent. So he will also be contributing a lot. Shafiq is still bogged down with his personal reasons and all. So he will be supporting in that. But yes, now it is like between the three of us, it's now a very keen focus area that Haswan
Nice.
has to level up. Like we have to change orbits essentially.
Nice.
So that's
Nice.
the focus now.
Amazing, Rohit. I think that's all I wanted to ask today. And for me, it's always going to be easy just to pick up a phone and get to know more from you. But yeah, for the podcast, I think this is it. Thank you so much. I think it was a lovely 1 hour spent with you. The kind of again mentioning the kind of decisions that you've taken, and thank you so much for sharing the kind of insights which are which actually gave us different perspectives to think about. So that is something that my aim is to through this podcast to get people who can share some insights. And as you mentioned, right, it is a moral duty for me to teach what we've learned to the younger generation, and so that they can focus more on finding other answers to other problems which we were not able to figure out. So thank you so much for that. It was lovely. I hope you had a good time as well.
Absolutely, Ishan. It's always a delight talking to you and the team at Grocery, and this was nothing different. Also, who doesn't like to talk about themselves? So
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
hope the conversation was worth for the listeners, whoever
It was.
going through it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks
Yeah.
so much for
Thank
having me here. Really, really grateful.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Thank you so much. I'll just